Hi everyone, my name is Nicola Adams. I won an Olympic gold medal in boxing, and I'm here today, to answer a few questions and to talk about what it was like being in the Olympics and being in the village, and basically just going through what it was like for me, the whole experience and leading up to now. I think the pressure for me was really qualifying for the games, because I was already tipped to win gold before I'd even qualified, so I was in a bit of a panicful state at the time. It was quite stressful, but once I knew I'd qualified, the pressure was off, and it was just about enjoying the games. In the village, it was really cool actually. I don't know whether you've been into a shop and you see the fridges full of pop, and Fanta, Coke, Powerade, and everything in the village is free. There was every food you could think of, a free McDonald's, which I'll tell you a bit more about later. It got totally hammered after we've all finished and after the closing ceremony. In the village we got to meet, lots of athletes. I met Usain Bolt, got to chat to him for a bit. The Williams sisters from tennis, Chris Hoy, Andy Murray, everybody was in there. It was really fantastic and motivating to be around so many great athletes. And anyway, to the fun part, when we'd finished the closing ceremony, if you can imagine, like every athlete from every sport, from every corner of the world, queued up at McDonald's and was after a Big Mac. The queue was absolutely huge. And I was stood next to Mo, and we were like, you know what? I think we're just gonna go and get a Nando's now, because the queue was like 50 people deep. And yeah, so we went to Nando's and got a free food for the night, so that was cool. And yeah, I think I'm gonna do some Q&A.
Right, okay. Who's gonna have the first question for Nicola?
What actually motivates you to box? So what's the reason behind your boxing?
I think the reason behind my boxing is, just having the motivation to win. I'm a winner, and I don't like to lose, so I'm always motivated to get in the gym and do more training than anybody else is doing, and I always want to do more than my opponents.
Next question.
What did it feel like to box in your home Olympic Games?
Oh, it was really great. It was a fantastic experience. Just having the home support and the home crowd behind you, it really fueled not just me but all the athletes on, to go one step further and do that much better.
Who's next?
Did you do any other sport before you decided to box?
No, I didn't actually. Boxing was the first sport I tried to do, but I did take up sprinting as well. I did the 100 metres and 100 metres and 200 metre sprint, and it got to a stage where I could either be a sprinter or I could continue boxing, and I chose to be a boxer.
Who's next?
What did it feel like to win your gold medal?
It was fantastic. I mean, words can't describe how happy I was having my hand raised in front of 10,000 people and saying that I am the first ever Olympic champion. And it was great. I think it's almost like, if you could imagine every Christmas that you've had all rolled up into one moment. That's kind of what it was like winning.
Who's next? There's got to be another question.
Because you're an elite athlete, is it a stricter diet?
Yeah, it is. Because it's a weight-controlled sport, we're never allowed to be more than 5% over as fighting weight, which for me, I box at 51, so I'm never allowed to weigh at any time more than 53.5 kilos. And we have our meals delivered, so we don't have to worry about how much we're eating and what we're eating, and it's tailored to whether you're putting on weight or just building muscle, so there'll be more protein or more carbs in the diet.
You're going to have to do a question.
How many times a day do you train?
I train 3 times a day, 5 days a week, which consists of a run in the morning, and strength and conditioning mid-morning, which involves weights, press-ups, pull-ups, and then the last session of the day is the boxing session, and we do pads, bags and sparring.
Were you scared about boxing at the Olympics?
No. I was a bit nervous going in, but I think that's a boxing thing anyway. You know, you're always nervous. It gives you that extra little bit of sharpness for when you get in the ring. I was just looking forward to enjoying myself and, you know, getting in there and having fun.
What moment would you take out of the Olympics?
I think I'd definitely say, do you mean apart from winning the medal or?
Apart from winning the medal.
I've got quite a few. I think definitely for me it was meeting the Queen, going to Rio with the Prime Minister, and getting to meet my hero, Sugar Ray Leonard, after I'd won, on flying in a helicopter as well.
Is your medal real gold?
It's 10% gold and 90% silver.
What did you do to celebrate?
I did a lot of clubbing.
When you get hit, is it like still hurting like when you started, or is it easy enough?
No, I think the key to boxing is hit and not get hit. If you stick by them lines, it never hurts.
Where do you keep your gold medals?
Well, most of the time I have it on me, but when it's not on me, it's in a safe.
You have got some questions.
What do you think of clubs like the Hunslet Club?
I think it's great, you know, anything that, you know, gets kids involved in boxing. You know, I love boxing, it's my sport, and it's just, you know, fantastic to have you guys here today and get to chat to you all.
My name is Edna. Where you are from? Leeds?
Yeah, I'm from Leeds.
Any more questions?
Which celebrities are your friends?
I have quite a few now. Tingy Strider, thank you. Talisa, and Mo Farah.
Any more questions? Yeah.
What do you love most about Leeds?
I think definitely, you know, the people and the support that I've had over the years, with my training and all the way through the game.
A lot of shy faces now.
Do you know, I just want to ask you a question. What positive message can you give to the youth out there? Because they always get, you know, very pressed. You're a role model now. What positive message can you give?
I think I'd definitely say, you know, get involved in sport. You know, it doesn't have to be boxing. It can be any sport, you know. And if you're determined enough and dedicated enough, you know, you can achieve anything. You know, you can achieve the world, and you could definitely end up being, you know, the next Nicola Adams and winning a gold medal.
Are you planning on fighting in Rio, or are you turning professional?
No, I'm definitely planning on fighting in Rio. I want to go to the Commonwealth as well and hopefully get the first gold there too.
What are you looking forward to most about going to Brazil?
Definitely the after party and the opening ceremony. Actually, I'm sure it's going to be really colourful. You know, a lot of dancers, and I think it's going to be really good. But I suppose most of all, I want to get the double gold.
Hi there. What did your mum think when you first started boxing?
Well, she was actually the person that took me down to the gym. So yeah, she was really happy that I'd actually, you know, found a sport that I was interested in, and you know, I was really focused on it, and you know, and she saw that I was doing really well, and you know, I was going to European Championships and World Championships. So as you can imagine, you know, when you put on a vest and represent your country, you know, it meant the world to her.
I hear that you've been given a Nando's card, a black card. What does that mean, and what does it get you?
Right, you know, that means a lot to me as well, you know. It means I get 3 Nando's for up to 5 people, whenever I want, anytime I want, and they deliver.
Hands up who wants to go to Nando's with Nicola? Any more questions? Were you all questioned that? Anything else you want to say, Nicola? Any keep fit tips or pointers for these guys?
Yeah, I definitely say, you know, stay focused and stay determined, and you know, listen to your coach, because your coach knows what they're talking about, especially in the corner. Tactics are really important in the games. You know, the tactics can be the defining point to whether you're winning a fight or whether you know, you're going to lose it. If they say, you know, to box and not go out there and scrap, you box.
One more question.
Do you expect to get gold in the Olympics?
I was hoping to get gold. I really thought it was a very strong possibility that I would. You know, the girl that I boxed in the finals, I've boxed her 3 times before. She'd won 2, I'd won 1, and you know, I thought this is the time to beat her in the games.
Any more questions?
Hi Nicola, how are you going to take your work forward, working with children? Are you going to do any work with young people?
Yeah, well, I'm actually the president of Us Girls, which is an organisation that involves getting young girls into sport, and you know, just keeping fit, and you know, how to eat healthy, and just a general way of being in life, and hopefully trying to find the next Nicola Adams. Oh no, sorry. I'm quite protective over my men. Yeah.
Hi there. Does anyone kind of take liberties with you when you're out, maybe fancying a bit of a shot out in public, in the nicest possible way?
No, not really. I don't really tend to get that. You know, it's just the photos, autographs, and congratulations, really.
What's your favourite naughty food?
I'd definitely say the cream donuts that they have at Patisserie Valerie's.
Any more questions? Okay. Okay, if we can form an orderly queue, we'll do some photographs.